Hello all and welcome to, well, this late afternoon, early evening beer review. I'm doing this on a Wednesday after work instead of my usual Thursday. Why? Well, because I got a lot of shit to do tomorrow. I gotta go and take the car into the shop, which means I can probably just go and groan over something or other there. And I have a bunch of shit I need to do on Sunday. Which kind of leaves this day as the only day to go and review something. I'm going to dub this review the headache review, because I got a pretty bad headache. I've been having headaches a lot recently. I don't know why. Maybe I should go and maybe I should go and see a doctor about it. Symptoms are I get a headache on one side of my head, my eyes get kind of watery, I get acid reflux, and my nasal drip starts acting up. So yeah. But as you can see, I can breathe through my nose, and so I can do a review. So what am I reviewing today? Well, as I said before, I kind of try to review only Hawaiian beers. This is not technically a Hawaiian beer. And in fact, if somebody sold this in Hawaii and tried to label themselves as locally, to be laughed out. And this is from Elysian Brewing, and it's called Hawaiian Sunburn, which is a pineapple habanero sour. Haven't had too many peppered beers. I think I've reviewed only one before. I've reviewed many sours, and I've reviewed quite a few beers with pineapple in it. This is 5.3 ABV. Yeah. Now imagine a nice headache on one side of your head with this. And you kind of get what this is about. Elysian is a Seattle, Washington-based brewery. They used to be they still are a very popular brewery, kind of on the forefront of the craft brewing revolution. Then they got, partially bought out by InBev, and so heel face turn, as a pro wrestling term goes, and everybody hates them, just like they hate Goose Island and so many others that got bought out by InBev. I myself I don't have particularly strong feelings about that. Why? Because I don't believe that I know plenty of small breweries. I'm not going to name names because I don't like trashing on, people's heartfelt works, and I really want people to improve. But I know some really small craft breweries that create shit beer. And honestly, for some of the larger ones that have gotten bought out, like Lagunitas, they still make great beer. I don't care what people say. I only care about good beer. And, saying, well, you're just supporting big businesses. It's like, well, Scotch has for example, Scotch, whiskey, and most whiskeys for that matter, until fairly recently, were all created by, all owned and created by large conglomerates, and have been so for decades, if not over 100 years. And that didn't go and lower the quality of the product. Certainly it made it somewhat industrialized, but it didn't lower the quality of the product. It didn't lower the uniqueness of the product. And I don't think, big brewers buying out small craft brewers is a sign of the end times, really. But I'm kind of digressing here. Nose is still clear, so let's get to this. Well, first we should read the bottle. Ale brewed with habanero peppers and pineapple added, relaxing with a little heat and a little sweet, like a nice Hawaiian sunburn. As somebody whose job is in Hawaii and depends on spending a lot of time outdoors during the hot parts of the day, I can tell you there is nothing sweet about Hawaiian sunburn, whether a little or a lot. As you can see here, I'm not naturally pale or anything. I am just this burnt from, well, let's go and see. You can kind of see a contrast here a little bit in between what my natural skin color is and, like, what the sun has done to me. So, really nukes you, even if you put on sunblock. This is kind of reminiscent of tiki bar stuff, which some people can get offended by. I really don't get super offended by it, even though I do have Hawaiian blood, amongst other bloods, obviously. And because you know, people say tikis are, you know, cultural appropriation of Asian and Polynesian culture. Well, the funny story is Trader Vic was deeply influenced by a bar in Hawaii that was open until fairly recently. It was one of the oldest bars in the state. And, you know, he was really influenced by the style that bar had. And it was like, I forget the name of it, but it was run by an old Hawaiian lady. And it was in an industrial area by the piers where all the workmen were. And, you know, it was kind of a rough, really woody place, and sailors would go and drop off stuff for Auntie there, and so she kind of decorated the place with random things that sailors brought in from their voyages around the world. And, you know, it kind of had this really funky, kind of personal vibe to it. And, you know, he kind of lifted that and added some exotic sort of, you know, exotic, semi-religious aspects to it, and, you know, a whole bunch of fruity drinks, and the tiki bar was born. So, you know, I can't really get offended by it. Obviously, don't use pictures of the traditional gods, or, you know, really traditional forms of cultural expression. I'm not going to say ban that kind of stuff, but you'd be kind of stupid too. But honestly, making signs out of like bamboo and, you know, beach motifs and fruity drinks, well, I can't see a reason why to get pissed off about that. Okay, so I've yammered. This is probably the longest I've ever yammered during a review. Probably because I have a headache, and that tends to make me digress quite a bit. We're going to be pouring this into, since it's a sour, we're pouring this into a Pilsner glass. And whatever pain the peppers go and bring about is probably nothing compared to what I'm feeling in my head right now. So, a cloudy golden yellow with a fizzy, slightly off-white head. White to off-white head. Kind of earthy and peppery at the same time. You smell those habaneros. Crackery malt bait. Crackery malt base. Yeah, I got a baby back there. It's peeping now. I just fed it, so don't worry about it. That whetstone kind of sense smell. Hints of almost salt and lime as well, so kind of citric tang to it. So, let's go to the tasting, shall we? I'll just close this. No, actually, no, his son's coming in through the window because he's in the coop right now. Oddly, not that strongly peppery. Pepper kind of kicks in the mids. Into the finish, it's lingering, but it's more like a slight burn. Definitely an habanero style burn. In that it's really coats the tongue as opposed to just burning certain areas of the tongue. And that's kind of slow to kick in. Habaneros are slow to kick in, and you really feel it when it does kick in, and you just, when you eat one whole, it's like, you know, I kind of dared, when I was in high school, I dared people to go and eat habaneros, you know, and they'd be like, oh, isn't this so bad? And then, like, you know, 15, 30 seconds in, they're like, you know, because it really is a slow burner, habaneros. The sourness is also fairly muted. Definitely more of a pepper beer than a sour, really. In that the pepper is what sticks with you. The only real hint of the pineapple, and obviously as I told you, I didn't really smell, as I described the nose, there really isn't too much smell of pineapple in the nose, nor is there much in the taste. All there is a sort of hint of fermented pineapple. And anyone who's ever had fresh pineapple that's sat too long in the refrigerator knows exactly what I'm kind of talking about. That thing will kind of ferment by itself and smell slightly overripe. It's still kind of pleasant, not hideously overripe, but that's the kind of hint of pineapple I'm getting from it. And it's just sort of a hint that's buried under that peppery burn, that sort of earthiness. And that sort of immediate kind of dry malt base in the front, as well as minerality in the front that, you know, kind of gets overwhelmed by the pepper in the mids and in the finish. As it warms up a bit, the sourness is expanding on the palate. It's still not really matching the pepper. I really wish there was more of that citric tang to the sourness, but at the same time I kind of know what the brewer was getting at, that if he went and upped the sourness a bit too much, it would completely eliminate whatever trace of the pineapple was in there, and it just would be a pepper sour. And if you're going to go with the tropical motif, and you're not from Hawaii, obviously you've got to have something like pineapple or coconut in there, you know what I mean? Or banana. I kind of wonder why no one's ever really done a banana-based beer other than that weird banana bread one. I do hope he's not gotten stuck or something. All in all, an interesting beer. Not mind-blowingly interesting. I guess it's interesting for me because I've not had too many pepper beers. And I think I should wrap this up before he starts bothering the neighbors. Yeah, the sourness is definitely expanding as it warms up. This is one of those odd sours that's probably going to taste better warm than, you know, on the warmer side than straight out of the refrigerator. Minerality, sourness, semi-decent pepper kick in the mid to finish. This is, as you can see from outside, well, probably can't see too well outside. It's overcast. Probably not the best day to go and be drinking this. Weather-wise, probably not the best idea to be drinking this while having a pounding headache. But it's an interesting beer. Would I get it again? At the price point it's currently at, probably not. If it was a cheap beer, yeah. But there are other sours that I find more interesting, more refreshing, and honestly, pepper beers are just going to be something of a trick for me, which is kind of strange because I would definitely drink a ginger beer for non-reviewing purposes, but a pepper beer, you know, it really does seem like something that would go better with food. I've never eaten with a pepper beer before, and that's something I should definitely try. So, yammering over a long review now. Elysian Brewing, Hawaiian Sunburn, Pineapple Habanero Sour. Kind of light on the pineapple and sour, and a little bit heavier on the habaneros. Middling complex, but kind of expensive at the price point, at least in Hawaii. And, well, reviewing it, not because it's a Hawaiian beer, but because, I mean, it's mentioning Hawaii. You know? That's your beer review for tonight, folks. Cheers, and aloha oi.